it going?
It's going okay. I'm still getting over being sick, so my voice is a little shot, but I'm here. We can do it.
I don't know what you sound like normally, so...
I'm much better, honestly. So I'm probably just gonna set up an online lobby and invite you to it. We don't really need training mode to show you too much.
Okay.
Hopefully.
I'm gonna see if I can record without making... Where are you? Are you West Coast or East Coast?
I'm in Tennessee, so like southeast. So the connection might be a little...
Yeah, but I think it's
a little rough, but it's fine.
Yeah.
If we're just learning, we're not playing super hard.
Okay.
We need to add each other on Steam.
Alright. Oh, there should be a way you just click on me on Discord, I think.
Let's see. I can watch your stream from Discord.
It should be under profile or something.
Profile.
Maybe not.
I got you.
Okay.
I have to go through Steam Authenticator real quick. Okay, so you know a little bit about fighting games, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Do you know how frame data works, or do I need to?
No, yeah, I know how frame data works.
Okay,
So
so
yeah.
I could speak in terms of frames.
Yeah.
That helps me out quite a bit.
And you can use the fighting game, what's it called, the 1, 2, 3 ABC.
Okay.
Yeah.
The numpad notation.
Numpad notation, yeah.
Oh, thank God. A lot of people are pretty resistant to learning how to do that for whatever reason, but it's very helpful to know.
Because they can't wrap their head around it, but it only takes a little bit. Once you get it, then it's easy. People just don't want to learn, take the first step to learn it.
Okay, I just sent you a friend request on Steam. So, yeah, so for people out there in the stream who know me, don't know me, my name's Ann. I used to run the wiki for this game. I've been with the game for a long time, and I wrote about the game. I made a bunch of tutorials. So, I saw Mango playing it, and I was like, hey, we could teach you a little bit about this game, because the tutorial's pretty good, but there's a bunch of implications of systems and other stuff going on that can get pretty complicated pretty quickly.
Yeah, the tutorial's been really cool. I finished most of it except for the veteran part.
Yeah, the veteran part gets like, as they start teaching you like really complicated option selects and everything, so like the general advice is to go play the game for a little bit and then come back to the veteran stuff later.
Yeah.
But there was like really important stuff mixed in with that too. Alright.
The first one's like dash blocking, and you have to dash block against Testa's laser beam, which is like super hard.
Yeah, dash blocking is really important. I'll come up with a slightly easier way to practice that. It's more important against characters like Merkava. Merkava's like this huge learning block for a lot of people, because you have to learn how to dash block and shield and other things.
A new sacrifice comes to you.
1 second. Alright, and you're learning Aurier, right?
Yeah.
Alright, bad news, I can't teach you how to play Aurier. I don't know much about Aurier.
I can get that from like guides and stuff. I just want to learn the general
Good news
game.
is this game is very, wow, that's a great color for you. This game is very system heavy. So like if you learn some of the core systems, they'll transfer between all of the characters very easily, and the game is going to become a lot easier to understand from there. So the 3 main systems to learn about, 4 for not terrible, is the chain system. So like something like this, just block for me real quick. Down back. So like if I do chains, you can chain anything into anything in this game, which can lead to some really interesting situations that we'll see. Because like how do you deal with something like this? This is actually barely minus, and people can get really creative with their strings and do all sorts of different fancy types of stuff with it. And that could be really, really hard for people to wrap their head around and deal with, and it creates this offensive type of game. But there's the GRD system, which helps you deal with that, and then there is the shield system, which helps you deal with that. So I'm gonna start with GRD. So you went through the tutorial, so you know a little bit about GRD. So you know there's the circle gauge in the middle, the TS gauge, whatever. It's just a timer that goes off every like 15, 17, I forget the exact number of seconds, right? And whoever has the most of those little blocks wins a special state where they get the pause button. You can double tap D and you'll do it real quick. Double tap D.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, there you go. That's called change shift assist, yes. So you get that, and then while you're in that state, you also get powered up a little bit. But the big thing is to learn how the little blocks work in general. And there's two different main ideas of how to earn the blocks, the GRD blocks. So the first one is, you played Guilty Gear, or at least seen Guilty Gear. So the first one's pretty straightforward. It works like building meter in Guilty Gear, for like just moving forward. Like look at the amount of GRD I get by moving forward. The amount of GRD you get by just running forward at me. Like you build quite a bit. Yeah, you can just get it by walking through, or so you can build quite a bit like that. So being proactive and neutral, doing things like that, is going to earn you a bunch of GRD. And that's really cool. If you want to assault forward, which is like forward and B, that was in the tutorial. So forward and B, assaulting at people, that earns you a lot of GRD too. That earns you quite a bit of GRD. And that's really nice to do. So you can earn GRD that way. You do all sorts of stuff like that. Just hitting people gets you GRD. But not a whole lot. And also importantly, throwing people builds you GRD too. And throwing actually steals GRD. So in neutral, generally anything that moves you forward is going to get you GRD. And likewise in reverse, anything that moves you backwards is going to cause you to lose GRD. And this is something that new players like miss out on a lot, particularly with things like backteching. So let's say I want to backdash out of a situation. Now backdashes are super good in this game, particularly Ori's. Ori's backdash is incredible. Well, look how far away you go. But look how much GRD you give up by doing that.
Yeah.
You do lose GRD by doing that. So it's kind of like it's a resource management thing. Sometimes you have to give up your GRD resource in order to get out of a situation. And it's worth doing. It's worth giving up GRD to do that sometimes. But another important thing, after this just hit rematch.
Right.
And we can keep it going. Another important thing about it is, even if like you get knocked down and you want to backtack, so when you get knocked down in this game, you can stand straight up or you can do like a back roll. And whenever you do the back roll, you actually still lose GRD. So if you're just holding back when you're trying to wake up on defense, if you're just trying to block and you hold back and backtack, you're gonna lose GRD. And people mess that up all the time.
You lose it too if you tech upwards, right?
I forget. Like you mean in the air? Or...
Yeah, if you tech up. Like, say I'm gonna knock you down, or build some meter. You tech up.
Yeah, if I do that, if I go straight up, I don't lose any GRD.
Oh, okay.
I just stand up normally. But if I backtech, knock you down again. If I backtech, see, I lose some GRD. Now, that's an important decision that you have to make sometimes, because standing up straight puts you in a mix-up situation. Now, sometimes it can really screw you over. But if you tech backwards, then maybe you get out of that situation, but you give up some GRD. Sometimes it doesn't matter which way you tech, so you just want a neutral tech to make sure you don't end up losing the GRD. So that's one basic system of the GRD. Moving forwards and backwards builds you GRD. But another one that's really important is grabs. So grabs is A plus D in this game, and if I grab you, you're going to lose GRD, and I'm going to steal GRD from you. Or vice versa. So, throw you, bam, I get a bunch of GRD. Throw you again, I get a bunch of GRD. But if you tech the grab, so what I'm going to do is block this 2A. Well, I'm going to do this, and then I'm going to grab you, right? Okay. Now look at your GRD meter. If you can tech this grab, look at your GRD meter whenever you tech it. Oh, teched a little early. Now we gotta wait.
Yeah, broke my GRD.
And I'll explain how that works in a second. Yeah, you can delay the throw attack by quite a bit. It's better to get thrown than get GRD broken if you're doing this like this.
Okay. Alright, I got it. Oh, too early again.
A little early.
Yeah.
Let's see if this still works. I'm curious. There you go. Yeah. Okay. You see how I lost GRD whenever you tech that?
Yep.
If you aren't GRD broken, you actually steal GRD. So if you're on the defense, you can steal GRD by teching grabs, and it's really interesting in this game. So you remember how, like, you know how frame data works? The person that techs the grab in this game is +8.
Yeah, I saw that in the tutorial. It teach you get like a combo off of it.
Now, you can't get a combo
or like
off
like a hit or something.
Yeah,
your turn.
You can do a hit and have to block it. Yeah, you take your free turn whenever that happens. That's another thing about GRD.
If it's +8, then you can probably get something, right?
It's +8, but the other person can block.
Oh, okay.
So it's not quite like, it's not actually +8, it's like the weird Mortal Kombat version of being plus and other things where like, you technically have time to do things, but I can still respond by blocking, by shielding, and doing all sorts of other things like that. Let's see, something else about GRD is like GRD break. So we saw GRD break. The easiest way to think about what happens when you're GRD broken is you don't have access to your D button at all. Your D button just doesn't exist for all intent and purposes. So you can't do something like sit there and charge GRD. Like you learn how to do that in the tutorial. You can't sit there and charge GRD. You can't shield, which we're about to go over shield, and that's really, really important. And you can't assault. That's another thing that you lose when you're GRD broken. So you lose access to a bunch of options when you're GRD broken. But I guess before we get into that, I do want to talk about shield. Because shield is like the most important thing to understand how it works, and every time I have a new player playing this game, they never really quite get it. So if you hold down back, down back, hit shield, you get this nice little shield thing to come out. So whenever you press that button, and this is completely free to do, you get your shield. When you shield, you're locked into blocking. Say you high shield, you're stuck blocking high for half a second, for like 30 frames.
Okay, and yeah, I'm trying to jump out of it. I can't.
Yeah, if you hold down back, you're stuck down backing for 30 frames. So that kind of sucks for one reason, and that main reason is that I can just overhead you for free if you choose to low shield. Okay? So your shield is high, low, and it locks you on. It's really important. Another thing is that when you're locked into shielding, you can't tech grabs actually. So like if you hold down back and shield, I can just grab you. That's completely untechable, and it GRD breaks you whenever you shielding correctly. So shielding's a very high commitment option that locks you in like this. But the benefits of shielding are actually very, very high. So the first main benefit is down back and just hold the shield down. Yeah. Well, after this, just hold down back and hold the shield down. And whenever I do this, so there's increased pushback, which is very nice. Another thing is that you're actually in block stun for a smaller amount of time when you do that. So it reduces block stun by 3 frames. So it gives me 3 frames less advantage to work with. But more importantly, look at your GRD gauge.
Yeah, a ton of it.
You're getting a ton of GRD by shielding. So by committing to shielding, you can stop people from doing that offense where I was just sitting here just doing things to you earlier.
But if you guess, you're gonna go for overhead, and it's bad news.
Boy, is there some bad news that comes from that. So not only can I overhead you, I can also throw you. If you do just shield, I can take the advantage. If I'm far out, I can just run at you, and you're stuck shielding. And all sorts of other things like that. But it does build you a ton of GRD, which is very nice. And then, as far as shielding goes, there's a second form of shielding, and I'm basically just giving you the tutorial twice before I start going into everything. Whenever you're in block stun, say I'm just doing this to you, if you tap D, let's see. I need you to tap D like while you're in block stun.
Oh, okay.
Instead of like when there's a gap, just mash it. Alright. While you're blocking, and you'll see the other form of shield, which is interesting. It does work. Yeah, you'll flash green, and it'll give you green shield. And green shield works a little bit differently than regular shield. I'm moving quickly through this a little bit, but again, the point is we're gonna start tying this all together here in a minute, and I just need to get back over to the tutorial. Okay, I'll put you back in the corner. So while I'm doing this, yeah, okay, you see how you flash green there?
Yep.
Okay, whenever you flash green, that's called a green shield, guard shield, all sorts of different names for it. We just call it green shield for the most part. Whenever you do that, it means that the next move that you block will be shielded. So, I'm going to do this 2A. Whenever you block this, tap D. And see how you shielded my next hit?
Yeah.
Yep, that's all green shield does. It consumes a little bit of meter, it costs 10 meter, and it makes it so the next move that you block gets shielded. So here's my question to you. What if you don't block a move after you hit green shield?
So if you... I don't know.
Okay, so you block this, then you green shield, right?
Yep.
And then if I do 5B,
Oh, you want to block it?
yeah, just shield the 5A. Yeah, that's okay, so you got that shield out. That's what happens if a move gets blocked afterwards. But if I do nothing, you green shield. Ah, too slow.
You gotta... me to...
Yeah,
green
green
shield?
shield the 5A.
Yeah.
Green shield that.
Oh, breaks. Okay.
So, the thing about the green shield is that if you don't actually block another move after the green shield comes out, you're stuck shielding for an additional, like, 1/4 of a second or something along those lines, right? So that's kind of the risk reward of green shielding. And there's another thing about whiffing green shield. Down back for me real quick. So, let's say I do this and you green shield that. Okay, watch your GRD whenever you green shield this. Whiffing green shield loses you so much GRD, an unbelievable amount of GRD. So if you whiff green shield, not only do you give up tons of GRD, you're also stuck blocking for a longer period of time where you could even get thrown, GRD broken, whatever. And it's just an overall bad time for you. The only one thing about green shield that's very nice is that you can choose whether you want to block high or low. Whenever you green shield, unlike the other shield. You're still stuck in the shielding, you're still stuck shielding, but you can change your direction that you're shielding, which is nice.
Yeah.
It really helps you deal with pressure. So if I'm doing a pressure, just like match D while I'm pressuring you, like I'm gone. I'm gone, you have all the GRD, and you could essentially even get your own turn there if you wanted to. Hit me a little bit of damage. Yeah. Okay, so you following me with all this stuff going on so far?
Yeah, I understand.
Okay, there's one more part of shield that is really important, because shield is your entire defense game. Shield will stop people from being able to cancel an airborne attack.
Okay.
So check it out. So just block high for me.
Yep.
If I do this with Nase, that's a pretty silly mix-up that can happen to you. I can just choose the number of overheads I want to do. I can even whiff an overhead. Whoops. And then throw you. And all sorts of other things like that. But if you shield this, I can't cancel that anymore. So you can actually just like punish me with a grab after you shield that. Like watch. I can't do anything about that. So what shielding an airborne move does is it adds a ton of landing recovery, and it makes it so that person can no longer chain air moves from what they were doing. Ooh, but you green shielded there.
Oh yeah.
So there's some trickery with that. I'll get to in a little bit. Yeah, so that's what that does. So it stops people from being able to just jump at you and do a really stupid mix-up. So like, if you ever played like Guilty Gear and BlazBlue and things like that, you'll know that sometimes you just block and people jump at you and you're in a really, really silly mix-up. Particularly characters like Melia, Takaka, things like that in those games. In this game, you can completely prevent things like that by shielding. And in general, overheads and other types of mix-ups in the game are pretty slow. So you can get away with shielding quite a bit of it.
Can they go empty low if they think you're gonna shield the jump in?
Yes, they can. I'll switch around some characters here in a bit and show you some really funny tricks with that. But yeah, so whenever you do commit to shielding something in the air, you are committed to shielding just like before, and they can just empty jump and throw you. Yeah, I'll go ahead and show you some silly ones. So like, yeah, you think I'm going to do that JC, I could just empty jump, just go low, and you get broken. I could empty jump, throw you. But yeah, empty jump blows that up. It's good to know. There's a couple other ways to blow that up, which are pretty funny. So like, let's say I do my little assault hop and I do this, right? So you want to shield this on reaction to me doing this little hop, right? Yeah, try to do it on reaction. Try to shield it on reaction. Okay, not too hard, right?
Yeah. I got green right there.
So what I did right there, I do a faster move that's really hard for you to react to. And if I see that I got the green shield, then you're dead.
Yep.
I just get to throw you for free. So there are ways to fix that up. And all sorts of stuff. Yeah, so let's see. I'm trying to think if there's anything else really important for shield that I need to go over. There's some other stuff to do too. One thing is, I'll get a little bit advanced. So you play Street Fighter 4, right?
Yep.
So do you remember how to crouch tag in that game?
Yeah.
You ever learn how to crouch tag? Yeah. So you hold down back, then you hit your grab, and you get light kick in that game. In this game, you don't get light kick. You get shield.
Yep.
Which is bad for two reasons, right? Well, it's good for two reasons, bad for two. It's good because if I am in the middle of like a move, like frame trap, you try to mix you up with grab or something, then if that comes out, then you know you just get shield. See? But if I do nothing and I just assault at you, then that's gonna grid break you. If I do nothing, see the shield and throw you.
Yeah, I think in the tutorial they told you to hit A first and then on reaction hit the D.
Yeah, that's hard to do.
Yeah.
that's another type of option select that the game has that allows you to crouch attack without the shield coming out. We're just gonna stick with the shield part for now. But now that that's all the way, okay, so that's 101. That's like the intro, just to make sure we're on the same page with mechanics and everything. So let's like talk about the implications of all this a little bit. Let's talk about what's going on with the chains in this and the GRD system in this. So whenever you do have GRD in this game, you do come away with a really, really massive advantage, right? Because you do have the pause button. And there are some ways to use GRD. I'm gonna steal GRD real quick from you. There's some ways to use GRD that are actually really, really strong. So let's talk about using GRD to neutral offensively. Obviously, I can use it like a Roman cancel, right?
Yep.
So I can just fly at you and do that, and then GRD CS with that, and then get a combo if it hits, and if it's blocked, I get pressure and things like that. So that's one way to use GRD. And you could really think of that just like using a Roman cancel in most other games, but it also affects neutral in another way, similar to how YRC affects things. And Guilty Gear, I don't know if you know what all that means, but essentially, I could pause the screen whenever I want to. So let's say you want to jump at me, I can anti-air you. By just, so like, let me get GRD real quick.
Yep. Yeah, I'll do a jump in.
Yeah, let's get GRD, do a jump in, and I could actually just use my my CS to guarantee that I always get the anti-air that I want, and then to go into whatever afterwards that I want. I can get a full combo off that and do whatever I want with that. Let me get GRD again. The other thing I can do is if I see you start to do a move, like start charging up your, what's it called? Yeah, start charging that up. I can pause the game, recognize that you've done that, and then punish you for it. If I have meter, I can super you out of that and get a whole turn worth of anything I want out of it. It's a very, very powerful tool in neutral. But there's another way to use it, and that is to use it defensively. So knock me down real quick, and then like try to do a move when I wake up. You can actually CS on wake up, see what your opponent's doing, and it doesn't give you any invincibility or add anything, but it allows you to break out of that situation. Another thing you could do with GRD defensively with your chain shift is block for me for a little bit. Actually, I'm gonna steal GRD real quick. Around square, doesn't matter. I'll teach you what guard thrust is before we go through that. So the tutorial teaches you what guard thrust is, right? So come up and start like hitting me, like make me block stuff. Just do like a random string. Whoops. Oh, bad. Why can I not get this to come out in hitbox? Oh, whatever. Let me get my stick real quick.
Alright.
So you know what guard thrust is though, right? Like the guard cancel?
Oh yeah, it's what's the command for it? It's the half circle D or quarter circle D.
Yeah, it should be forward stroke back D.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, I don't know why I couldn't get that to come out hitbox. Yeah. So like, whenever you did that while you were in purple, so I need you to get meter. Just hit me for a little bit. Do your auto combo. Just build you some meter.
Oh, okay. Not through the super.
Okay, yeah. Okay, so do the guard thrust again. Okay, so that costs 100 meter, and it gird breaks you.
Oh shit.
It is so bad. It is absolutely awful. Make me block real quick. Oh, timer now. Anyways. Here, build gird on me real quick. I'll let you do this. Nope.
Oh, you want me to build grid?
Yeah, just run at me. Da-da-da-da-da. So... Okay. So this time, do your guard thrust again while you're blocking. Whoops. Oh no, we lost guard. Alright, well I guess I'm gonna steal guard to do it. Okay. I'm gonna hop over you real quick. Let's move forward.
I'm on hitbox as well, so.
Oh, this is a chorus level.
Yeah, it should be pretty easy.
Here, make me block a block string real quick. Okay, there we go. Okay, so you see how that I didn't use any meter, and I didn't get gird broken, but I consumed my my chain shift instead. Consumed my CS, my vorpal state.
Okay.
All that work to get gird. That gets me out of that situation. So what I want you to think about is, if you have gird right here, like you can use that to get out.
Yeah, and use my vorpal state, right?
There's another thing you can do. Just make me block a block string for a little bit. Okay, see how I flashed chain shift right there? All I was doing in that block string was mashing the D button. So just mash the D button while you're blocking for a second. Or in the next round we'll go over it. But the point is, if you ever leave a gap, and I'm sitting there mashing D, I can pause the game, see what you're doing, and then Dragon Punch you.
Okay.
And that's another way to use CS defensively. So the amount of ways you can use CS is very strong, so you obviously really want to have it. But the big thing I want you to take away from it is that using it defensively is very, very, very good. And that's going to be one of the key things to deal with in this game. Because the offense in this game isn't, like I said, it's not really suffocating. In the sense that you're going to be having to deal with a bunch of mix-up. Like, I'm not just going to high-low you. It's not like Blade's Blue. I'm not just gonna like hit you with an overhead that's really hard to react to in the middle of a block string. But I can make you block till you die of old age. If you use that, use shield and gird, and your CS and everything carefully, you can get out just about any situation eventually. So right there, you actually just lost gird. If you would have kept blocking there,
yep,
you'd have gotten out of the situation eventually, because you would have had CS. But now I have CS. Not only did you get hit, you lost CS, so now I get to have like a party. I get to do whatever I want to do. The big takeaway. So you get what I mean by using CS defensively, right?
But you have to be smart about it or you're gonna get blown up.
And you get what I mean about having to use your shield and other things to earn it.
Yep.
So you can probably already start figuring out, like, figured out some of the mind games earlier. I'm gonna take you back to the corner. So you figured out some of the mind games earlier with how all of that worked together. With like, let's say this, like, you want to shield in order to stop me from doing this, right?
Yep.
So I'm gonna start empty jumping, right? So here's where the game gets a little weird. The game gets a little esoteric. So we know all of that. So right now you have more gird than me, and I'm on the offense, right? So I know that you're looking to do one of two things. You're looking to either hang on to the gird and not allow me to steal back Vorpal, steal back chain shift, or you're looking to use it defensively to get out of that situation, right? So let's hold down back for me. So we're gonna give you an example. Actually, we'll use this as an example. So right now I have gird.
Yep.
This is a much easier example to work with, actually. So right now I have gird. And I know that you want to get gird in order to get out of this situation, but I know right now you can't actually steal it because the cycle has to go through, right? I can steal it back real quick. Yeah. So early on in the cycle, a lot of players will actually be kind of conservative about what they want to do. Because I know, you can't steal it back, but right here, I notice that the cycle's about to end, so I just run up and throw you twice. And that way, I steal the GRD back. So people are going to go for things that steal GRD harder, like shielding or throwing and other things like that, typically later in the cycle once they realize that they have to steal that back. And that creates a type of mind game where you need to think about all those shield options, all those options to interact with GRD, and how to use things like that in order to take advantage of your opponent and what they're thinking about. So again, you have GRD right now, right?
Yep.
So right now, I know that your main options that you're looking to do are to chain shift out or guard thrust, right? So if you want to guard thrust, if I'm just sitting here doing like a big long extended block string on you, that's pretty bad for me because that gives you a free opportunity to guard thrust, right? So that's bad. If I sit there and do a big long stupid block string trying to get you just to open yourself up, you're not really going to be doing that because you're just looking to either guard thrust or use your chain shifts to get out of a situation safely, right? So the mind games start to build up laterally across that, and that's a really important part of this game because it works with every character. Every part of that works. So the most obvious one is the grab game, like I was saying earlier. So I think you want to get GRD from me, right?
Yeah.
I have a slight GRD advantage. I'm gonna just let the cycle end. Okay, so I think that you're going to get GRD from me. So how do you get GRD from me? What's the best way to steal GRD?
Find opening to grab or to just block with shield.
Block with shield. There you go. So you're sitting there blocked with shield, right? And then you stole GRD from me.
Yep.
So let's say I still had the GRD, and I knew that you were going to try to block with shield, right? So I do something like this.
Yep.
So I'm going to change my block string. I'm going to change my entire approach in order to try to steal that GRD from you. And that is like one of the most core parts of this game, is playing with that, thinking about, can I shield here to get GRD, or is this person smart enough to bait that shield out and punish it? And the rest of that's going to come with really natural mind games throughout the game. So that's all a little advanced for you up front. I'll admit, it's quite a bit. I'm sure you followed most of it.
Yeah, I understand the importance of it and following when they're. It kind of gives you an idea of when the opponent's going to go for certain things.
Yeah, exactly. The idea I want you to take away from that big long spiel is that looking at the GRD gauge will tell you what your opponent wants to do in a way that you could take really, really heavy advantage of it. And that's like the core thing that makes this game. That is the core central factor. And all of it ties into shielding, chaining, and abusing the GRD system. And then we can get into some specific examples for a little bit. And you can just ask me questions, and I'll just answer questions. But one of the specific examples I want to get into is with the chains. So just down back for me. So this right here, things like this, all I'm doing is hitting my big heavy move and then whiffing it into a light move, right? So with this, the heavy move is normally like -5 something on block. It's minus quite a bit on block, right?
Yeah.
If I replace it with that light button, now I'm only -1. And every character in the game has shield. And I can just do this whenever I have a block swing, right?
Can I do it with my sweep?
Yeah, do you sweep into 2A? Yeah, you can do the 2A like immediately. I get a little bit of range with the 2A whiffs, but yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, you can do that, and it works. You can even actually, if the sweep hits, a little close. I'm gonna walk backwards. I can get a combo. There are ways to do hit confirms and other types of things like that. And so that's really hard to deal with, right? When somebody can just generate that type of advantage on you. Remember what I talked about with the shielding and the forepull and CS earlier, right? Let's say you have chain shift and somebody's trying to do that stuff to you. You can just chain shift in the middle of what they're doing, and you could punish them for just hitting a button, right? You can do all sorts of stuff like that.
Yeah, so if you go for C into A, if I hit chain shift after the C, like my turn, right?
Yeah, you
And
can
punish you.
steal the turn with chain shift. You can't necessarily punish me, but you can pause the screen, and let's say I tried to do a button, you could see that, and then you could punish me.
Yep.
If you caught something punishable, you could punish me. If I did nothing, then I just stole your CS. And that kind of sucks, but
Yep.
that's life. But another important thing about this is if you shield, so let's say I do something like this. I'll hold down back and just block. So if I did this, try to hit like a button between that, okay?
Yep.
Oh man, you got a good button.
Yeah, that button's good. You have a different button?
Yeah, you can use 2A's. 2A's not gonna reach.
Yeah.
So 2A is not gonna reach. Let's see if there's another way for me to gain. See, I'm trying to think of what my fastest button is to do this with. Will that work? Yeah, that might work. Okay. Do your good button after this. Yeah. See how that beats that?
Yeah, good son.
Man, it's hard. Man, or you got a good button. Bad matchup. So you get the point. I generate advantage there, and it's hard for you to deal with. If you hold down back, if you shield this, then you actually, not only do you build a little bit more space to walk up and do something, you're actually, you know, you're putting less blocks in. So when I said I was -1 earlier, now I'm -4. And that's going to give you more range to do something, and you've built GRD.
Yep.
So you've pushed me out, I'm more minus, and you've built GRD. And that's something you can do to deal with the chain system. But again, see how you whiff that green shield? Yep. Sometimes I'm going to change which buttons I'm hitting in order to try to bait out that green shield. And then at that point, I've won GRD. Or if I think you're just going to shield too much, I'm just going to run up and grab you. So that's one thing dealing with chains and GRD can do. And then, actually, I need you to just kill me so I can go switch characters.
It's gonna take a while. I still haven't gotten training mode to learn the combos.
It's fine. Yeah, smart steered out. Yeah, and you'll learn combos, you'll learn character guides, stuff like that.
Yeah, I just want to learn the core of the game. I feel that's really important. Then I'll have an idea why I'm learning these certain combos, certain situations.
Yeah. The core of the game is really going to come down with her. A lot of it's going to come down to pressure and other sorts of things like that. But the shielding and everything, I have a really good example of a character that's going to force you to learn how to play the game like this. Sure. Pick the nice big orange color. So this guy, have you seen what Merkava does in this game?
Kinda. I see what he does, but I don't know really what he's doing.
He's a big stupid space chicken. He makes space chicken sounds. Okay. So the reason that you have to learn a lot about this game and all that shielding, all that nonsense that is one thing, is because if you don't know that, Merkava's literally unbeatable. He's the best character in the game, and you'll never beat him, and you'll just go online and complain endlessly. You don't know any of that stuff. And this is a big expose because Merkava has buttons that look like this.
Yeah.
Remember that thing I said about, you know, reverse beating, chaining backwards in order to get advantage? This is only -5.
Okay.
So if Merkava's across the screen doing this, what do you do? What is your answer? And there's a couple answers. How do you deal with this?
But I get free grid because you're doing that.
Yes, you get free grid because I'm doing that. Okay, so that's one thing.
Yeah.
As long as you shield that, you get some free grid. Okay. Okay, you're struggling.
Yeah.
You're trying a little too hard. Keep it simple. So right now you're just getting the grid, right? So just steal the grid by just blocking this forfeit. Okay. So now you've got grid. So now that means a couple things. That means number one, the Merkava player has to move forward because you pushed me out and you've stolen a bunch of grid. And now that you have grid, it's really actually pretty scary for me to have to do stuff because you have access to the pause button. The pause button is going to mean something else here in a minute. So put you back in the corner, crawl you over there. Okay, so just keep blocking. So the next step is figuring out how to get around this. And this is where that whole tutorial about dash blocking comes in handy. So if you shield this, it's -8. And you said, you know how frames work. -8's quite a bit of time. A jab is 5 frames in this game. -8's quite a bit of time. The whole time that I'm sitting there trying to do another one of these, if you shielded one of them, you could just run forward and then block and shield again, actually. Okay, so shield the first one. Then afterwards, yeah, see how you just run forward? Just keep doing that a little bit. This is hard to do.
Yeah, it's hard to do. I'm struggling in the tutorial with the beam.
You don't have to run quite as far. Do like a short little dash. There you go. Okay, so now you're this distance, and you have Vorpal. That is actually pretty scary because if I try to do a button and you CS it, you might have an option to deal with it. You might be able to jump over me. You might eventually have, if it's once you have 100 meter, you have an invincible move. Or if you just do it again, you just CS afterwards. Yeah, that's your turn.
Yep.
That's just your turn now because I'm minus ECS. That's a nice big turn for you. So that's one thing you have to deal with this character. That's one thing that shielding this character can do. There's more. There's more that you're gonna have to learn about shielding too with a character like this. And some of that's gonna come in with the remember the air shield thing earlier?
Yep.
So Merkava has some more bullshit up his sleeve, and the fact that he could fly. So I see Burger Time in the chat. Shout out to Burger Time. She plays this Merkava color, and she's very good. We play together quite a bit. We beat her up every now and then. So this character can fly, and he'll hit this big button. And this just has like no recovery. I just land, and I'm good. Yeah. It's he caught on. Now, since you're shielding that, look at your gird. You get all that gird, and I have to hit the ground. So you don't even need to CS.
Yeah.
You can run up. And so you have 100 meter, right?
Yep.
So you have an invincible super in there somewhere. Ooh, there you go. So before you even do the invincible super, you can run up, and if I go for this again, and you see me do that, just CS while I'm doing that. Like a double tap P. Yep. Change it.
That's holding forward. There's the problem. I'm getting an assault instead.
So you see me doing this, yeah, right there, you can just anti-air me, you can super me, you can do whatever you want right there. And I'm just screwed. So stealing CS to deal with that, super duper important. And a lot of Merkavas will sit here and just do this for days. Like every Merkava you find online is just gonna sit here do this, and they'll hit this button too. So this button works like the C button, except I can get a little bit more follow-up out of it. It's the exact same thing you were doing earlier. You see how you're just shielding? If you just shield, you eventually get GRD, you eventually get CS, and you're gonna get a ton of meter, you're gonna get chain shift, you're gonna get access to options that are eventually gonna help you beat me and get through the game. Again, it's a very long road to learn how to fight this character. But I want you to get the idea that using the shield to play the GRD game is going to be very good.
Yeah.
So here's what good Merkavas do, okay? So you're sitting here looking to shield all this, looking to dash block in at me, looking to shield me flying and doing all sorts of other stuff, right? So sit here and pretend like you're fighting me, like what are you going to try to do? You're sitting there trying to shield, right?
Yeah.
So here's what the good Merkava does. He just runs across the screen and throws you.
Yeah.
Because Merkava's throw is actually a very good throw. And number two, he has a pretty fast run. I don't know why he has a really fast run, because, game balance, but, it's to make up for things like that. So yeah, you want to sit here and you want to play the GRD game, and eventually, if you are playing correctly and the Merkava's playing defensively, you're going to win the GRD game.
Yeah.
Then Merkava is going to start running at you, because he thinks that you're going to be playing super defensive in order to build GRD, and eventually stop him, right? So what do you do to stop that? And this is a really simple answer. How do you stop somebody running at you in any fighting game? Hit a button.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, you do. You hit a button. And then suddenly, because you've been using shield, you're forcing Merkava to play footsies with you.
Mm-hmm.
And now, does that not seem a lot more manageable knowing how that works?
Yeah, that's one thing about this game when you watch it. There's so many giant buttons. Like you're like, how do people even deal with that?
Shielding.
Yeah, yeah.
So like when you watch high level play, sometimes this happens. Just down back and shield.
Yep.
Yeah, sometimes this just happens in high level play. People just shield at each other because they're expecting, you know, the other person to throw out a big button. They're trying to steal curves from each other. They're trying to do things like that. And sometimes people just run at each other and start grabbing each other because they're sitting there playing this game with the big buttons and the shields. And because they do that, like some people look at all the big buttons in this game and they go like, how the hell do you play footsies? What is neutral? Just hit your big button and deal with that. Well, if you use shield, you force people to play this weird alternative version of footsies where they have to decide if they want to try to move forward against things like shield, or whether or not they want to try to shield themselves to deal with big buttons. So if you're fighting a character like this, or a character like Gordo, who I'll switch to Gordo after this. I can just kill you real quick. I'm sorry to death. I don't have enough time to really anything. Maybe this will kill you. You can do the big dumb Merkava super afterwards. This will kill you. That super. Yeah, I'm gonna switch to Gordo. He's very similar. Gordo is also bullshit. But he's not the same type of broken that he used to be.